Hey, Facebook family and YouTube subbies, what's up? Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. Um, I promised I'd be back earlier, and so here I am. Let me share this on my other pages on Facebook, Sergeant Dorsey Speaks, and retired LAPD Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey, so that everybody can hear and see what's going on. Ask you to share this with your family members on Facebook. Create a watch party, have them come sit next to you on the computer, whatever it is that you do, do it now, as I do the same. And then, we'll get right to it. So I've got some new information with regards to the whole Joshua Brown saga. This thing is really kind of starting to take on a life of its own. And so I'll be sharing a little bit of that with you. Hey, Ron, what's up? Hey, Aunt Mo. Listen, but before I get started, let me just let me just be sure and make sure that my volume is okay before I get too long and involved in this. Because listen, I don't know if I'm going to need to start running captions on my videos or, have a damn sign language interpreter stand over my shoulder, because what I say to my Facebook family and what my YouTube subbies hear is a completely different thing. Hey, Ruben, when I tell you that my hey, Quincy, when I tell you the YouTube, I've told you guys before, the subbies are rowdy. It's a rowdy bunch. And so I mean, I'm up for the challenge, because at the end of the day, their agreement's not required. But listen, we've been having some vigorous discussion, some debate, and conspiracy theories continue. And so I just want to make sure, as I say this to you, that, okay, Ruben, the sound is good. Hey, Shaz, you guys can hear me just fine? Okay, so let me say this. I am not trying to convince you people of anything. Believe what you must. I'm just telling you information that I have come across, information that's been shared with me. And so I'm just sharing it with you. And then you, subbies, Facebook family, decide what import you want to give that information. And so if you are all hearing me well, and I'm seeing from your comments that my volume is just fine, I don't imagine this is like one of those Godzilla movies where my lips are moving and then the words come 3, 4, 10 seconds later, right? We're all good. So everybody should have a clear understanding of what it is that I have been saying and what it is I'm about to say. And as I share this with you, what I believe, I don't know, because obviously I don't know who's on the other side of my camera. I don't know who's on the other side of a silhouette with some kind of screen name like Tony Tiger. I don't know who you are. And so, consequently, a lot of what you say to me kind of, I don't care. But, because I'm a professional, and because I'm like Xerxes from 300, I'm kind, I will entertain you a little bit, and I will engage you a little bit. And I'll, try to give you the benefit of what it is that I've come to know. And then listen, once you have that information, you are free to roam about the cabin. Think of it what you will. If you don't like it, hey, Shaz, thanks for that, girl. I appreciate you. You know I need you here, keeping me all the way right. I do the best I can. So thanks for that, Chaz. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, or if you're not buying it, because I'm not selling nothing, okay, proceed, Governor. What I am going to share with you about Joshua Brown is not anything that I'm trying to convince you of. I'm just merely telling you what I have learned. And then you decide how important it is in your day-to-day activities, because what I can absolutely promise you is that the time I go to bed and the time that I wake up and everything that happens in between changes not. because of this. And so for the YouTube subbies, and I have a lot of new YouTube subbies, I appreciate you guys, checking me out and sticking around to, see what it is that I have to say from time to time. And I find it interesting that, some of you are bothered, in a real way about what I say. And because I'm not speaking, someone said, I'm not staying on code, whatever that means, because I don't have talking points. So I guess I'm not staying on code. If that's, what I need to do for the millennials, I can kind of tell the demographic of who I'm dealing with based on the foolishness that comes out of their keyboard, right? And so, I don't take any of this stuff personal, folks. I really don't. And, I don't understand for those of you who are really butthurt by what I say, because, I can't really believe that the police aren't assassinating people and that they wouldn't, try to besmirch Joshua's character, because if he was really a dope dealer, there's no way that an attorney would have him testify. Okay. If you say so, sir, ma'am. So listen, I'm just telling you what I've heard. But before I do that, I want to say something, because this is really important. And this was shared with me the other day, and I didn't get a chance to speak on it then. And so I'm going to speak on it today. But before I do that, let me just say this. Let me thank, a lot of my new followers and subscribers on YouTube, because I want you guys to know that I really, really appreciate you. And so let's see, who am I going to acknowledge real quick? Darn it. Okay, it's not in this notes. I'll do it tomorrow, Thursday, when I come back. Okay, so here's what I wanted to tell you. This is an update. You guys remember some weeks ago, months ago, I talked to you about a family member on Facebook who had a sister who was doing 30 years in jail in Oklahoma because she was in a relationship with a guy. She had kids with him. He was abusive to her and the kids. And she ultimately wound up pleading to something. It was a blind plea. And she didn't understand, really what that meant. And really, she didn't know what she was pleading to. That's why it's called a blind plea. I don't know if her attorney was really working in her best interest, but nonetheless, she pled guilty. The boyfriend wound up being found guilty of abuse as well. He pled child abuse. The boyfriend got 10 years, 8 years suspended. So by the time trial came around, he had been in jail already for a couple of years. So he really got time served. He did 2 years and he was out of there. Well, the young woman, the mother of these 3 children, she got 30 years and she's been battling in Oklahoma, of all places, to try to get her sentence commuted. And so I have just learned from her sister, Tonda. So thank you, Tonda, so much for sharing your sister's story with me, first of all, personally, and then for keeping me updated, because we have good news. The Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board unanimously recommended a commutation with time served for her sister, Tondalo Hall. Now, Tondaleo's already been in prison for about 15 of those 30 years, I believe. She was denied a commutation previously in 2015 and then again in 2018. And for some reason, the district attorney, the prosecutor, not the one who put her in prison, but the current prosecutor, took a look at her case and realized that there was some disparity in the kind of time that she was given, because after all, she was a victim of domestic violence. Note to self, ladies, if you stay in an abusive relationship, you can unknowingly be putting yourself in harm's way, which is kind of what happened to Tondalo. And so now, because her commutation was approved, it's going on to the governor. And they said that over in Oklahoma, this is very rare that a county district attorney would even get involved to the extent that this one did. His name is David Prater. And he even went so far as to write a letter to the judge in Oklahoma asking that Tondalo Hall be considered for a commutation. And so the judge said, okay. And now it's going to the governor. So for some of my YouTube subbies who, still got a little energy and a little fight in you, since you guys have a lot of free time, because, when I come to you subbies, Facebook, you guys already know. When I come to you, a lot of times I come to you with information because there's kind of a call to action that you could do that might help this family out. And so since the governor, his name is Kevin Stitt over in Oklahoma, is going to be looking at this recommendation for the commutation for Tondalo Hall, those of you who, have some free time on your hands, why don't you go ahead and get a hold of the governor over there in Oklahoma and let him know of your support in this commutation. So for those of you who do get involved, who do get engaged, who want to make a difference and understand the importance of having your voice heard, I'm going to share with you a link. I'm going to share with you a link for the article on Tondalo so that you can see what they're talking about. And subbies, I will put this link in the description on YouTube so that you can also see what's going on. And then, instead of fighting and fussing with me, contact Governor Kevin Stitt over there in Oklahoma and tell him, yes, please and thank you. Commute the 30-year prison sentence for Tondalo. So that's good news. Now, on to the fist fight. The tale of two Joshuas. And listen, I'm saying this because, there's always, several sides, right, to a story. And there's always information that comes out, it comes out in pieces and dribbles. And because you don't hear it in the beginning doesn't mean that if you hear it 3 days later, somehow it's not true. But again, you guys decide the import you want to give this information. So, I was not, I said before that I was not surprised if Joshua had been involved in some kind of drug use, marijuana. That's what kids do. That's what grown folks do now. That's what seniors do, right? Because it's legal. Smoking marijuana is legal in a lot of places. And so, ain't nobody clutching their pearl to think that he might have been involved in that. And because these millennials, you know how they are, they like to get on social media with everything that they're doing. Evidently, Joshua was no different. And so there's a young lady, and somebody shared this with me. There's a young lady who has a YouTube channel, and it's called Nick at Night. And I'm going to share with you Nick at Night's, as soon as I can bring it back up, I'm going to share a link with you for her YouTube channel. And on her YouTube channel, she did a lot of research. She did way more than I could do or even really would do, because I don't have an interest like that. But this young lady found information that Joshua had uploaded on social media. And in these videos, you will see Joshua, for those of you who care, for the conspiracy theorists who say that, he's an amazing guy, and he may very well have been, but he also was involved in some stuff that, clearly could get you hurt. And, when you engage in certain activities, sometimes you're around unsavory people. You're around folks that might mean to harm you. I've had a lot of people, I love how people come to me and say, there's no way anybody would drive 300 miles, to buy marijuana. I thought it was odd. I don't smoke marijuana. I don't buy marijuana. I'm certainly not going to drive 3 miles, let alone 300 to buy some. But then I had a lot of YouTube subbies who are about that life. And they said, hey, look, Sarge, I don't want to, bring this here on your channel, but I'm about that life. And I've not only driven, I've taken a plane in pursuit of. So for everybody who's on here saying that don't happen, it can't happen, it wouldn't happen, they don't know what they're talking about. This is somebody who's speaking from a place of been there, done that. So I don't know that person, but I'm taking them at their word that, that's what they do. And I've heard it from more than one. Is that what Joshua does? I don't know. Is that what these 3 young men are or did from Louisiana, Arlington, Louisiana, I'm told? I don't know. But what I do know is if you check out the link that I just put up for Nick at Night, Nique, like Dominique is what I'm thinking it is, Nique at Night. That's her YouTube channel. And you can go there and you can see she has about a 30-minute video up where she's talking about the entire incident, as well as she includes videos of Joshua that he put up. It's him talking. I know that, that technology can afford you the ability to do some amazing things. So I'm not saying unequivocally, this is Joshua. I can't authenticate it. I can't validate it, but it looks like him. I've never had a conversation with him, and he's talking very, very differently when he's, in his element than he did when he was at court. And it was yes, ma'am, and right? But you can judge for yourself. You will get a chance to see and listen to Joshua in his own words about who he is and what he does. And, once you see and hear that, then you can, hey, Carol in Illinois, what's up? Then you can decide, whether or not he was assassinated by the police, like Lee Merritt said, whether or not he's really a drug dealer or they're just trying to dirty him up, or, we can take his word. You decide. But I just wanted to share that with you because, like I said, there's a lot of back and forth. And so, one of the things that I was trying to, get some of my subbies to articulate to me is why it is that Dallas PD, after the fact, after the trial, now that Joshua has already testified, I'm just trying to understand what would be in it for Dallas to kill him. For those who really, really believe it, what do they gain? And I'm not saying that they did or they didn't. I'm just asking if you can articulate it. I haven't found anybody just yet who could. I get a lot of word salad and I get a lot of, oh, don't tell me you don't believe, but nobody can tell me, what's in it for them? Why would they do that? Because like I said to you before, what he said at the trial didn't convict her. They didn't even need him, truth be told. Now, they didn't know that they didn't need him. The prosecution didn't know, because who would have thunk Amber Geiger was going to get up on the stand and say what she said? She convicted herself. The trial is over. It's a wrap. It's a done deal. The only thing that's left to do now is the civil. And again, I've said this over and over, so I hate to sound like a broken record, but the civil case, from what I can hear publicly being said by the attorneys representing the family and by the mother of Botham Jean, is that their position is Dallas PD should be held liable because they didn't properly train Amber Geiger, and because they should not be training police to shoot in the 10 ring. I don't know how that's going to go over in a civil suit. I'm just saying that's just me. So I don't know still what would be the benefit in killing Joshua, because Joshua doesn't know anything about police training. He doesn't know whether or not Amber Geiger was properly trained. So him not being able to come and speak on that, because he can't, but him not being able to speak, period, at the civil trial, I don't know how that really helps personally. So if there's someone out there who, can speak to it intelligently, succinctly, concisely, I need you to do it that way, then holler at me, because I'm just curious to know what you think. Pamela, what are you saying? You agree, Amber, the ambusher Geiger hung herself when she testified? Yeah, she did. She hung herself. So anyway, so that's what's going on. And then the other thing that's been reported today that's new and different, and I know people are not trusting the Dallas Police Department. I get it. Listen, for those of you who've been with me for a minute, you already know I have no love for Chief Renee Hall. I have angst with her about everything that she did with regards to this case, starting with her, giving it over to the Texas Rangers, starting with her saying that, ooh, this case is a little unique. It's a little different, at her very first press conference, because when she said that, I already knew she knew something that we didn't know, right? I was listening. And so, anyway, I got beef with some of her decisions, but that's just me. She's not there to please me any more than I'm here to please you. But nonetheless, so Dallas PD is announcing now that there's a second suspect in custody. They said Michael Mitchell, 32, was arrested by federal deputy marshals Tuesday night in Marksville, Louisiana. It says that the Dallas Police Department said in a statement, Mitchell's nephew, 20-year-old Jaquarius Mitchell, was in critical condition in a Dallas hospital with a gunshot wound. And I guess Jaquarius is kind of the one that's talking right now because, you know, for those of you who know, like I know, you know, when somebody is in critical condition in the hospital, particularly if you've been shot and you think you're about to die, there's all kind of stuff that you are willing to say if you think you're going to die that you may not ordinarily say if you think you're going to be okay, right? You just shut your mouth and, you know, wait till they go to court and see what they have. But when they think they're going to die, you know, people, you know, they have a whole lot to say. So I just share with you a link to an article that speaks to this recent arrest of Michael Mitchell, 32 years old. And then, like I said, the third person that they're looking for, Thaddeus Green, he's 22 and he's still at large. Now, I'm going to read a quote to you again from my good buddy, Lee Merritt. And here's what Lee has to say about the Dallas Police Department, because it sounds like they had a big community meeting and Renee Hall was there and she, you know, they were trying to shut it down because there was a lot of screaming and yelling and, you know, fussing and cussing. You know how they get down sometimes at these community meetings, right? These town hall meetings. And so they were going to shut it down and not let the public comment. And then Renee Hall, you know, intervened. And I think she allowed some statements to be made by the public. And one of the things that they're asking for there in Dallas is that someone other than the Dallas Police Department investigate the shooting death of Joshua Brown, because the people in Dallas are distrusting, rightfully so. They don't trust that the Dallas Police Department is, you know, being honest about who really shot and killed Joshua, first of all, and they don't believe that Dallas is going to do a thorough and proper investigation. So they're asking that somebody else other than Dallas do it. Now, I don't know this to be true or not, but what I believe is that ain't going to happen. Because listen, if you get activists dictating to a police chief what she can and can't investigate, where do you draw the line? That's what Dallas police detectives do. They investigate homicides. And so while initially there was the inference that the death of Joshua Brown had something to do with Amber Geiger, we now know that not to be true. So why wouldn't Dallas Police Department handle a homicide within their jurisdiction? I don't see them relinquishing control of it. And that in and of itself may drive them crazy in Dallas and further fuel the whole conspiracy theory. But this is what Lee Merritt had to say with regards to the investigation thus far by Dallas with regards to Joshua. He said, in quote, "I have no reason to believe that their conclusions so far in this investigation are unreliable. But I believe some members of the community will have a difficult time accepting it because of their association with the Amber Geiger trial." So that's Lee Merritt saying that he hasn't seen anything that makes him think the investigation that they're currently doing is unreliable. So if he doesn't have a problem with it, then why all of the inflammatory type hyperbole stuff that he also spews, which is absolutely stirring the pot and churning up the local area activists? He said there's nothing in this investigation that seems unreliable. That means he trusts what they're doing. He trusts what they're saying about the 3 people that shot and killed Joshua and the 2 that they have in custody and the 1 more who's outstanding. He believes those 3 individuals to be involved. He believes everything that the Dallas Police Department has said thus far about how those 3 came to be within close proximity and what happened moments before the shooting. That's what Lee Merritt says. So, you know, you can't have it both ways, Lee. You can't say that the Dallas Police Department is doing an investigation that seems reliable and then in the same breath say they're not doing a good job, because these kids, these millennials, my subbies, they are hearing something very different. And listen, I get it. There are people right now who don't believe Hawaii is the 50th state. And listen, you're not going to be able to convince them that it is. And I'm not trying. So for those of you who, are like-minded and think that whatever is on this link for Nick at Night, the information that she found that was uploaded by Joshua, that's Joshua talking. If you think somehow those videos were manipulated because they have it in for him, and that's a whole lot of angst to have on little old Joshua, because I'm like, you would think he was like damn John Gotti or something, and they really had it out for him. I mean, they're going through all these hoops and measures to besmirch his character and have you think that he's a drug dealer when he's not, and he's a good guy, and ain't no way he would sell drugs when he was scared to come back and testify. There's no way. That doesn't even make sense that he would do that, because you wouldn't do it. Doesn't even make sense that he would sell drugs to somebody he don't even know. Well, how do we know he doesn't know him? Did he tell you? Because I don't know whether he knows those three guys. I don't know if they've had relations, business dealings before. Do you? I'm just saying, I'm trying to be reasonable here. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. At the very end of the day, next week, probably, Joshua's mother will lay him to rest. And who killed him and why they killed him will not change those facts. It's not going to make the hole in her heart any smaller. It's not going to make her nights any shorter. And so while it might be nice for you to know, it changes nothing about this mother's loss and her anguish. And so when I tell you what I tell you, I'm just sharing information, because I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't give a damn about Dallas Police Department and what they do. I don't give a damn about Dallas police officers and what they do or don't do, what they do next week, what they do next month. I'm only coming to you with information. Those of you who live in Dallas already know how Dallas PD gets down. And so I try to say things that I think might be helpful if you ever got stopped by one, so you don't wind up like, let's see, can't think of anybody that got shot and killed by Dallas, but I'll just say Terry O'Shea, or O'Shea Terry, I forget which way, Arlington, Texas, the young man who was shot and killed because he didn't, stop when an officer tried to pull him over, and he wound up shooting in his car 6 or 7 times and killing him. I mean, you could be O'Shea Terry, you could be Jordan Edwards, who was shot and killed in the back of a car that he was riding in with friends in Texas because an officer heard something that he thought was a gunshot. So, I just tell you what I think might be helpful. I don't guarantee that you won't be stopped by a fool. I'm just telling you what I know. And so at the end of the day, like I said, you make an informed decision on how important the information that you just learned about is to you. Because I do think today, I'm going to say it again, I think today I'm done with Joshua Brown. God bless him. Rest in peace, sir. I'm done. Because I don't have a dog in the fight, and I don't want to go round and round with you guys. I'm not going to argue with you. I have nothing to prove to you. I don't care if you believe me. None of that. And so I'm going to talk to the people who are interested in hearing what it is that I have to say about the things that interest them, because my guess is probably tomorrow as well, if not later tonight, most of you are not going to care about Joshua Brown either. And for everybody who's stomping around town and looking to tear up some shit, good luck with that. Because pretty soon you'll be like Will Ferrell in that movie, and I don't know the name of it, but stupid stuff comes to mind, where he was jogging in the street butt naked, and his wife happened to pull up alongside with her girlfriends in the car, and she sees him because her girlfriends are like, "Isn't that your husband?" And she looks over, and there's Will Ferrell running down the street in his birthday suit. And she asked him, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, hey, honey, how are you?" He goes, "We are going streaking." And she's like, "We who?" And he was like, and he turned around and there was nobody behind him. So for those of you who, who want to carry the Joshua Brown banner, God bless you. Press on, press on. But I'm done. I'm done. And also over there, the NAACP says the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund is also asking, like Lee Merritt, for this independent investigation into Brown's death. And again, I've already said to you that I don't think that that's going to happen for the reasons that I've already stated. So there's a local minister there. Some of you who are listening may know Reverend Michael Waters. He's the pastor of the Joy Tabernacle African Methodist Episcopal Church in Dallas. And he quotes, the distrust. And I'm not saying that the distrust isn't perfectly placed. I'm just saying that I don't think the Dallas police chief is going to relinquish this garden variety homicide, because that's pretty much what it is, according to their own verbiage. Drug deal gone bad is what they say. And so they're going to investigate this drug deal that they say went bad. Whether or not the community is skeptical or believing in the way that they adjudicate and finally resolve that investigation, they would like, the Dallas Police Department, according to one of their spokespeople, they would like the community to kind of stand down and give them an opportunity to do right by the Brown family and investigate this. They would like the support of the community. This certainly isn't going to bridge that gap between police and community there in Dallas, because there's too much history from what I'm hearing. But, for those of you who live there, I don't. For those of you who live there, do you have a solution? Do you have a recommendation about how to make things better? We know things are pretty messed up. We know that things are bad. So what do we do going forward to make it better? How do you bridge that gap? How do you fix the distrust that exists? Because just fussing about it and just, going on and on is not really helpful. And wouldn't you want to be helpful in your community? Wouldn't you want to come up with a plan, with a course of action that might make things better? It's rhetorical. Don't answer me, please. I'm just saying. I'm done fussing and fighting with you guys. And for those of you that are here tonight, I appreciate you for coming by and just, wanting to know what it is that I had to say about this. Shaz, you said, if he was a known drug dealer, who knew and how long did they know? Okay, so let me say this, Shaz. Everything I say to you is what I think. Okay, I can't tell you unequivocally, but I kind of know how things go. And so listen, he was a witness for a trial, and attorneys typically do their due diligence. They know who it is that they're going to put on the stand, because they don't want any surprises. Both sides know. That's why I told you there's all these pre-trial motions and meetings and get-togethers between the prosecution and the defense and the judge, and they talk about, okay, so who's this guy? Who's that guy? Everybody has to produce a witness list so that the other side can see, who's on their list? Who are they calling? What is this person? How are they involved? What do they know? What do they do? Where do they live? What will they say? All of this stuff has to be made known. There's a process called discovery, where information is shared with each side so everybody knows the players. So it wasn't like they didn't know that Joshua had all this stuff up on social media saying, this is who I am, and this is what I do, and this is how I do it, and this is who I do it with, and watch me do it. They knew. But your witnesses are your witnesses. And so just because a person may not be of a stellar character, if you will, who among us are, you have to use the people who can speak to a situation where you find them. And so they all knew. And that's why I said on yesterday, Shaz, when Joshua got off the stand and the judge said, I'm surprised he came. people thought she was saying that because she was in the process of calling somebody to come and assassinate him 3 days later. She said, I'm surprised he came, because she was in on the back and forth that was going on with getting him from California back to Texas. He fled. He went to California because of this whole shooting incident that happened back in November. And he has beef with those people. And on the videos, on the link for the YouTube channel, Nick at Night, you hear him talking about the person that shot him. And you hear him saying what he's going to do to that person when he finds him. Now, that was last November. I don't know. He probably should have been able to find him by now if he really wanted to. I'm just saying. You'll also see him on several videos. And this is amazing to me, because I get young people, they don't know nothing. They think they do. But, you know, he's in a car holding up a box of equipment. It's a surveillance camera, and he's showing this surveillance camera because he's letting everybody know you're not going to be able to come and steal money from me. You're not going to be able to steal drugs from me because I got this video camera. He lives in an apartment. Listen, I've been a homeowner for a long time. I've also lived in an apartment, and I know for a fact you cannot just go install a whole damn camera on an apartment building that does not belong to you. You can't do it. You can't even put up a damn satellite dish to get direct TV without going to the leasing office and asking for approval to first put a damn satellite box on the balcony of your apartment tied to, you know, whatever fencing is around your patio. So for him to be showing everybody that he's got surveillance equipment that he's about to put up and he gonna be watching y'all, and y'all believe that? Well, the millennials believed it because they don't know no better. But grown folks, anybody who's, you know, had a couple of revolutions around the sun, know better. But you know, when you floor showing and, you know, high signing or whatever it is, whatever the term is the kids have, flossing, I don't, what, stunting, I don't know, whatever the term is, when you doing all that, you know, for show and you recording yourself, you know, other kids might think, well, shoot, I'm gonna go buy me some surveillance equipment from Costco the next time I go with my mom because I saw a camera over there and it was a good deal. You ain't gonna be able to put it up on nobody's apartment building. That don't happen. But listen, don't take my word for it. And everything that I'm saying to you, don't take my word for it. Don't believe nothing I say. Do your homework. Do your research. What do I know? I'm not trying to convince you of anything. If you hear something from me, if you hear something from somebody else, you would want to research it. You wouldn't want to just take my word. So before you start spreading and talking about what he wouldn't do, and I know he couldn't, and he wasn't involved in drugs, yeah, you might want to do your homework, do your due diligence. I had someone come to me and say that, you know, he knows personally Joshua because Joshua is a friend. No, Joshua is the cousin of his friend. Something like that. It was like 6 damn degrees of separation. And he knows Joshua, and I don't know what I'm talking about. I got it wrong. And I was asking him if he could please, sir, articulate to me what it is that I got wrong and what's really going on, because he seemed to have all the answers about what's really up. And I don't know. I'm waiting on him to tell me what's really up and why Dallas needed to kill Joshua, because obviously his death has changed everything, right? His death has just changed the whole landscape in Dallas, I guess. I don't know. Okay, Shaz, you said, I really wonder about the training of the DPD. How is it that Rambo Ambo never said that when she approached what she thought to be her door and saw that it was ajar, that she retreated to safety and called for backup? Instead, she entered. Well, just Shaz, because yeah, there's a whole, I got video about why. So you'll have to either call me and I'll tell you, or just look at one of my other videos. Hey, Thais, what's up, sister girl? I'm so glad to have you here. This is really special. And Black Dynamite, I see you. I want nothing to come out of your mouth tonight. Larry, you say he is a drug dealer in all cap. I didn't say that, sir. I'm just sharing with you some information that's out there, and then I don't know if he's a drug dealer. He might just, like to smoke copious amounts of marijuana. I don't know. I'm just saying. Shaz, you said he must have the best damn weed. I don't smoke and never did, but those guys ride 5 hours, buy some weed, and then leave the weed, and the money is beyond your level of comprehension. Well, see, Shaz, because you and most others are trying to make sense out of nonsense, just like people were trying to make sense and not being able to do that out of the whole story that was put out there by Amber Geiger about, I thought it was my apartment. I thought it was my apartment. That doesn't make sense. And we've talked about that ad nauseum as to why that doesn't make sense. And so, girl, don't spend too much time racking your brain over, why somebody would drive 4 or 5 hours, because if you're just joining me, Shaz, I've already said, folks who are about that life have told me, I don't know. I'm just telling you what folks who are about that life have said to me. And they have said to me, excuse me, that they would drive for hours, and they have jumped on a plane for hours to get what it is that they need. I'm not refuting it. That's what they say they do. I'm taking them at their word. Joshua, in his uploads, because these kids like to put all their business out there, has said, some things. And so I'm taking him at his word. Okay, Thais, what are you saying? The Dallas Police Department wants y'all to believe that 3 Black men drove 4 hours, 300 miles from Alexandria to Dallas, opting not to go to Baton Rouge or Shreveport, which was closer, to purchase marijuana, kill the connect who just testified against the police. And they left 12 pounds of marijuana and $4,000. So, well, Thais, that's what the Dallas Police Department is saying. Now, whether or not you believe it or anybody else believes it, whether or not you think that's even reasonable, that's for you to decide, sis. But I'm just telling you, folks who are about that life say that that's a thing that folks who are about that life do. And those who engage in those kinds of activities don't find it hard to believe at all. Those who engage in those kinds of activities have done those kinds of activities. So, again, whether or not, someone wants to think that that's plausible, that that could happen that way, I'm not here to convince you one way or the other. I promise I'm not. Hey, Barbara, I promise I'm not. I'm just telling you what's out there. And like I said, at the end of the day, the system does what the system is supposed to do. And so let's be clear, Dallas PD, LAPD, NYPD, Chicago, Detroit, pick a PD. There's 18,000 of them. And they pretty much all operate the same way to varying degrees. I'm not naive, and I'm not trying to say that that doesn't exist. And we already know, because we've got plenty of buried bodies that will demonstrate to us that police will kill us and that they will manufacture the reason why they killed us. So let's be clear. This is not that. This is not that. Now, what happened to Joshua and who's responsible for it? I hope they find him, because like I said, the family deserves justice. Somebody needs to be held accountable, whoever that somebody is. And I don't know who that somebody is. But right now, Dallas Police Department is saying that they know who the somebody is, and it's these 3 guys. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. But I know that, if there's even a possibility that it could have gone down the way that it went down, then doesn't it make more sense, instead of us tying ourselves up into a goddamn figure 4 behind this, that we have a real conversation with our family, those who are about that life, and tell them, if you're going to be about it, here's how to do it in a way that might be safer. Maybe you shouldn't meet strangers you don't know. I don't know. I'm not promoting drug sales, y'all. I'm just saying, come to me with some damn solutions. Quit coming to me with, well, what about? And how come? How do we not let there be another Joshua Brown? How do we prevent there from being another Botham Jean? How do we fix that? By arguing with each other? By being disrespectful? Like some of you can be, my subbies. Anyway, that's that. I'm just looking at your comments so I can respond to you before I go. Parents are not the same. And anything of the corrections of the children being friends or family, sometimes school teachers. Okay, let's see. Okay, sometimes the village is corrupt. It takes a village, but sometimes the village is corrupt. Okay, Joseph, you're helping me with my vernacular. The term is flossing. Is that what I need to say? Is that what the kids do? Okay, bring me into the 21st century, dude. I'm dating myself, right? I'm using language that was, popular when dinosaurs roamed the earth. Don't judge me. Okay, Sean. So you said you find it interesting that the police are using the same amount of money, $4,000, that Joshua had talked about in the video. Yeah, I guess it could be interesting. I don't know what it means, but maybe that's, maybe he just always carries around $4,000 on him. I don't know. Actually, he said he had 5 bands, right? That's what he said. He had 5 bands, but he had spent some. So by the time, he dropped the money that he had in his pocket, because he had so much cash in his pocket, by the time he dropped it, it was only 4,000. That's what he said. So the police said that they found 4,000. I don't know. I can't explain it, y'all. I don't have answers for every single thing. I'm just saying that, there's a possibility that Joshua may have been hanging around some bad actors. There's a possibility. Okay, Khalid, you said that Joshua, they said that, I guess this will be part of his obituary, that he was a host of Airbnbs, and that's how he made his money. I'm not, I don't mean to besmirch, if you got a real job, if it's at KFC, it's all good, but I don't know, I don't know how much money hosts for Airbnbs actually make. Was he supplementing his income with the whole, drug thing? I don't know. He doesn't do himself any favors with that video, because now there's all this speculation, what we're doing right now. And really all it really does serve is it dirties him up in the minds of some people. And listen, let's be honest. Some folks are going to change channels and just say, he was a drug dealer, whether he was or not, because there's video of him that he put out there. And so some people are not going to have any sympathy for him. And that's kind of too bad, because whether he was a drug dealer or not, he didn't deserve that. He didn't deserve that. Whatever he was involved in, trying to, get from day to day, make ends meet, whatever, he didn't deserve that. And that's the sad part about it, because now they're going to minimize those in a position of power and authority, will minimize, they will mitigate, they will devalue him. And, how do you unhear that? How do you unsee those videos if you're an investigator whose responsibility it is to try to solve his crime? I would hope that every investigator who may come across those videos, who already know that they exist, wouldn't be swayed, wouldn't be not so diligent in pursuit of really putting together a good, strong case for whoever shot and killed him, because you think he was a drug dealer and so he has no value. Who's going to miss him? Good riddance. That's the risk that we run. Those are the kinds of wounds that we inflict on ourselves when we don't always put our best self out there. When we do things and delete them and think that they can't be recovered. And now he's gone. So he can't speak on, I was just playing, on what he really meant in those videos. He can't speak on it. He's not here. And so folks are speaking for him. unfortunately. And so that's kind of, that's kind of the whole point of me even sharing that it exists, because let's do something better going forward, people. Let's just put our best self out there. Let's not show us in such a terrible light. Let's not give people the opportunity to say things about us that may not be, who we really are. That's all. So that's the point of this. That's the point of me sharing. And let me see. Sean, you said, but this has nothing to do with him testifying. Amber and Rivera tampered with evidence. This is crazy. Oh, you're beautiful, my sister. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it has nothing to do with him testifying. And that was the sad part about it, Sean, that I spoke on yesterday, because again, the attorney Lee Merritt, when he first came out, Lee knows all of this. I think. I can't say 100%, but he's a smart man. He's a smart man. And, he's looking to win a settlement against the city on behalf of the Botham Jean family in the one instance. And now, this family may be looking to him to help them do what, I don't know, but, they may be looking to him. And so he's a smart guy. He's an educated guy. And so why would he risk his reputation by saying that, this guy didn't have no enemies and he's a good guy, and, he was scared to death, inference being because he testified, when he knew he was scared to death because of something that he had been involved in that had absolutely nothing to do with the Amber Guyger trial. And that's why Lee Merritt is now backtracking. And that's why you have all these varying versions of quotes by him saying he was shot in the mouth and the chest. Oh, well, really, the family told me that, and I don't really know. So we just gonna wait on the corner. Now it's like, can we believe anything you say, sir? Can we believe anything you say? It's not helpful. Yeah, Miss Bryant, I agree with you. It's unfortunate that this happened, and yeah, we can all say a prayer for the family, and then we'll move on. We'll move on. So okay, I'm not going to go over the whole trial with Amber Guyger. That's what I'm not going to do. Okay, so Ruben, you said you found it strange that the 3 suspects didn't have any social media presence. Okay, so I don't find that strange particularly. There's a lot of people who don't do social media. You may know some. I do. I know people who I might try to get on, social media for a variety of reasons. Granted, they're not millennials, they're my contemporaries, but at the same time, they're like, no. Well, I take that back, because I do have a millennial who's not on social media, has no interest in being on social media. So it could happen. Does it happen often? No, but it could happen. And the fact that someone doesn't have a social media presence doesn't mean anything, because that's not a requirement. It's not a requirement. So, but I get it, Ruben, if you find that, somewhat troubling, it's okay. Let's see. Okay, Pam, you like my whole figure 4? I told you guys I'm silly, and stupid things just come to my mind, and when they do, I just blurt it out. So yeah, anyway. Oh, okay, Mary, you were replying to someone else about the parents. Gotcha. So anyway, okay, we're good, family. We're good. Thank you again for coming. For those of you who are new, and I know that there's folks who are just finding out about me, and they think that I just came here. I had somebody dress me down on YouTube, because that's where the rowdies are, and they call me a YouTuber. And I understand what that term is, but let me just be clear. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just somebody who happens to make videos from time to time, and I upload them on Facebook, and then I decided to start sharing them with YouTube. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not trying to make a living off of YouTube. I've already done that twice. So I'm just sharing with you what I think might be helpful, because there's nobody like me who's done what I've done on a major metropolitan police department like the Los Angeles Police Department, who has an insider's perspective about police culture, what they think, what they do, and why they do it. And even though, you know, I tell you about my own personal experiences and what I think, I don't speak for police wholesale. I speak for my experiences. They form the basis for what I share with you. I kind of have an idea because I did it, you know, for 20 years, right? So again, but when I share something with you, if it's not important, if it doesn't resonate, if it's not information you can use, works for me, works for me. We're not going to debate because that's something you cannot do with me about my lived experiences. So I try to be helpful. I will continue to do that. We'll do this again tomorrow night because I have some other news that I think might be important for you guys to know about, some updates that I'll share with you about other things that are happening in the news, because believe me, there's other stuff going on in the world. So on that note, family, be good and be safe.